Hi everyone, this is lecture 2 of topic 11 and we are continuing cardiovascular system. We are done with the outer coverings and the layers of the heart wall. So going inside the heart now, that means the anatomy of the heart. The heart, if you imagine the heart to be a house, this is a house with 4 rooms and the rooms are known as the chambers. So the 4 chambers are 2 atria and 2 ventricles. The atria are smaller than the ventricles. In location, atria are superior and posterior, while ventricles are anterior and inferior. The atrium on the right side is called the right atrium. The one on the left side is the left atrium, while the ventricles are also right and left ventricles. So remember, 4 chambers, right atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. Here the heart has been cut open. It's a frontal section showing the interior chambers, and the chambers have been labeled in blue. You can see the 2 atria and the 2 ventricles. Another view showing the very muscular left ventricle. The heart has a very important role in pumping blood, and there are 2 types of blood circulation in the body. The first one is called systemic circulation and the second one is pulmonary circulation. The systemic circulation comes from the word system. That means this is the part of the blood circulation where the heart is pumping blood to the different parts of the body and then the blood comes back to the heart. That part would be systemic. While pulmonary is where heart sends blood to the lungs for oxygenation and then the deoxygenated blood converts into the oxygenated blood and it comes back to the heart. So the systemic circulation involves blood flowing from the left side of the heart through the body tissues and back to the right side of the heart, while the pulmonary circulation includes blood flowing from the right side of the heart to the lungs where it gets oxygenated and then coming back to the left side of the heart. The figure depicts the pulmonary circuit, which is the top part of the figure, where you see blood going from the heart to the lungs and back, while the systemic circuit is shown below. Coming back to the heart chambers, remember that heart has 4 chambers. And just like the rooms of a house, there are walls between the rooms. So the wall between the 2 atria is known as interatrial septum. This wall is solid. There are no windows. Okay. Similarly, the wall between the 2 ventricles is known as the interventricular septum. This wall also does not have any windows, no openings. So when there aren't any openings, can blood flow between 2 atria or 2 ventricles? Never. In a normal healthy heart, it can never flow between 2 atria and 2 ventricles. There is another wall which is present between the atrium and its corresponding ventricle. So it is present on the left side as well as right side. It's a continuous wall. It is known as atrioventricular septum, and in the atrioventricular septum there are windows that allow blood to flow from the atrium to their corresponding ventricles. This figure clearly shows the interventricular septum. So the windows about which I was just talking in the atrioventricular septum, these are known as valves. And the valves allow blood to flow in only one direction. So the main function is to prevent backflow. The windows between the right atrium and the right ventricle, there are 3 panels in that window, and that is known as a tricuspid valve. So this valve is present between the right atrium and the right ventricle. The window present between the left atrium and the left ventricle, it is known as a bicuspid or mitral valve because this window has 2 panels. Okay. In addition to these windows or these valves, there is also another type of valve about which we are going to learn slowly. Those are known as semilunar valves, and these are present between ventricles and arteries emerging from these ventricles. The 2 types of semilunar valves include the pulmonary semilunar valve and the aortic semilunar valve. This figure shows the tricuspid valve, the bicuspid valve, and the aortic semilunar valve. The atrioventricular valves, that means the tricuspid and the bicuspid valves, they act in an opposite manner to the semilunar valves. That means when AV valves open, semilunar valves close, and vice versa. The AV valves are kept in place by special hard strings called the chordae tendineae, which are actually tendons. The semilunar valves, usually they are closed during relaxation but open during ventricular contraction, while the AV valves open during heart relaxation and are closed during the ventricular contraction. This figure explains the operation of the valves in details. This is operation of the semilunar valves. The previous slide was operation of the AV valves. Interestingly, the myocardium of the heart has its own blood vessels known as the coronary circulation. This is because the blood present inside the heart chambers does not nourish the myocardium. And the coronary circulation consists of coronary arteries which branch from the aorta, specifically the ascending part of the aorta, and it supplies the heart muscles with oxygenated blood, while deoxygenated blood is drained from the myocardium by means of the cardiac veins and the coronary sinus. This figure shows the right and the left coronary arteries in the coronary sulcus. There are two main blood vessels or arteries called the great vessels associated with the blood circulation. These are aorta, which comes out from the left ventricle, and the pulmonary trunk, which comes out from the right ventricle. The pulmonary trunk, after coming out from the right ventricle, it branches into the left and the right pulmonary arteries. These left and the right pulmonary arteries take deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle to the left and the right lungs. In the lungs, oxygenation of blood occurs, and then this oxygenated blood is brought back by means of 4 pulmonary veins to the left atrium. There are also two main types of veins associated with the heart. The first include two, the superior and the inferior vena cavae. The superior and the inferior vena cava, these enter into the right atrium. They are bringing blood from all over the body. The superior vena cava brings blood from the superior part of the body, and the inferior vena cava brings blood from the inferior part of the body. These drain the deoxygenated blood into the right atrium. The other type of vein which I have mentioned in the previous slide are the pulmonary veins. These are 4 pulmonary veins which are responsible for bringing oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left atrium. This figure shows some of these important blood vessels that were just discussed in the previous slides. The next couple of slides talk about the blood flow through the heart, and I'm going to explain this using a flow chart in the subsequent slides. Let's go to that slide. This is a really good flow chart explaining the flow of blood, and I would recommend all students memorize this flow chart. Let's start at where it's written number 1. So we start the blood circulation at right atrium. The right atrium is the receiving chamber. Both the atria are receiving chambers while the ventricles are discharging chambers. So the right atrium is the receiving chamber for all of the deoxygenated blood. And there are 3 blood vessels that drain deoxygenated blood into the right atrium. There is the superior vena cava that is bringing blood from the head and the neck region of the body. There is the inferior vena cava that is bringing blood from the inferior parts of the body. And the third one, which most books will not tell you, it is not mentioned everywhere, but remember this, there's also a third blood vessel that is bringing deoxygenated blood into the right atrium. It is known as the coronary sinus. So coronary sinus is bringing deoxygenated blood from the myocardium. So these 3 blood vessels are draining blood into the right atrium. From the right atrium, blood goes into the right ventricle through the tricuspid valve. So the tricuspid valve has to be open to allow the blood to move. From the right ventricle, when the right ventricle contracts, blood would flow out into the pulmonary trunk through the pulmonary semilunar valves. That means the pulmonary semilunar valves open and they allow the blood to move into the pulmonary trunk. The pulmonary trunk leaves the right ventricle and then it splits into the left and the right pulmonary arteries. These pulmonary arteries go into lung tissue. In the alveoli of the lungs, oxygenation, that means gas exchange occurs. Carbon dioxide is given out, oxygen is brought in, and now the blood becomes oxygenated. Look that all the parts of the heart where the blood was deoxygenated are shown in blue by convention, and after it gets oxygenated, it is shown in red. So from the lung tissue, now 4 pulmonary veins bring the oxygenated blood back to heart. Where exactly in heart? To the left atrium. From the left atrium, when the left atrium contracts, blood moves through the bicuspid valve into the left ventricle. The left ventricle is the most muscular and powerful chamber of the heart. When the left ventricle contracts, blood flows out into the aorta through the aortic semilunar valves. So these valves have to be open. Aorta carries blood out of the heart. It starts going up at the beginning, that's called the ascending aorta. Then it makes a U-turn, this is called the aortic arch, and then it starts going down, that is the descending aorta. At every level of the aorta, there are branches of blood vessels coming out, and thus every part of your body is supplied by blood. This blood is rich in oxygen, and the oxygen is used up by the cells and tissues, and then the blood becomes deoxygenated, and this deoxygenated blood is then transferred back into the right atrium through the 3 blood vessels that I had mentioned. A side track from the aorta are the coronary arteries, which would take oxygenated blood from the aorta, and they would supply the myocardium of the heart, and the deoxygenated blood from the myocardium would be drained out by the coronary sinus. The next important system that you have to learn about the heart is known as the conduction system. Please do not confuse conduction system with blood circulation. Sometimes it happens that I ask students to write about the conduction system and they end up describing the blood circulation in details. The conduction system of the heart, also known as the nodal system, it depends on a very important property of the heart, which is called the autorhythmicity of heart. That means heart muscles or cardiac muscle cells contract without any nervous control, right? Because cardiac muscles are involuntary. They are not under your conscious control. They are not controlled by the nervous system. And yet the heart muscles will keep contracting in a regular, continuous way. So cardiac muscles are autorhythmic. It's because there are special types of autorhythmic cells found in certain special locations in the heart. So let's look at the heart conduction system in details. The first part of the conduction system is called a sinoatrial node, or the SA node. This is the natural pacemaker of the heart. This is where the electrical signaling or the action potential begins. This is present in the right atrium. So once an action potential is generated in the SA node, it moves to the next destination, or it hops to the next destination. The next destination is called atrioventricular node, or AV node, which is present at the junction of the atria and the ventricles. Something very interesting happens here. The electrical signaling or the action potential pauses for a brief period. Okay, it's fraction of seconds, but for bodily processes, that fraction of seconds is a really long time, and this is intentional because here the AV node, the action potential pauses to allow the 2 atria to contract, because the contraction starts in the right atrium because the action potential starts there, and then it slowly spreads to the left atrium also, and then both the atria contract. So when the signal moves to the AV node, it allows the 2 atria to contract. After the AV node, the signal moves to the next destination, which is the atrioventricular bundle, AV bundle. It's also more commonly known as the bundle of His. This is present in the interventricular septum. Now the signal is moving down along the interventricular septum, and the AV bundle, it branches out into bundle branches which are also present in the interventricular septum. Then the signal reaches the apex of the heart through the interventricular septum. After the apex, it starts moving upwards, and the bundle branches, they actually branch out into multiple branches, really thin. Those are known as the Purkinje fibers, and the Purkinje fibers are spread out within the ventricular muscles. This figure shows all the conduction points. Starts with the SA node, second one is the AV node. AV node is at the junction of the atrium and the ventricle. Then it moves down to the atrioventricular bundle, or the bundle of His. Bundle of His is bifurcated into the bundle branches. The bundle branches reach the apex of the heart, and then they make a U-turn, and then they spread out into multiple branches which are known as the Purkinje fibers. So remember that electrical signaling starts at the SA node. This is where the heart contraction begins. When it starts at the SA node, and then both the atria would contract. Okay, so what is exactly happening? If you remember from the nervous system, there is depolarization of the cardiac muscle. This is in one direction from atria to ventricles. After the SA node, the impulse, that means the wave of depolarization, spreads to the AV node. The atria contract fully. After the AV node, it passes through the AV bundle, then the bundle branches and the Purkinje fibers. The blood is ejected from the ventricles to the aorta as well as the pulmonary trunk when both the ventricles contract. This is a summary of the cardiac conduction system. You can see it is a flow chart. Starts with SA node, AV node, bundle of His, bundle branches and Purkinje fibers. Now if you look at the figure below, this is very interesting and it tells you something. When the impulse starts, when the heart first starts contracting, it starts at the SA node, which is located in the right atrium. You can see that the contraction is shown with the yellow color. Then it moves to the left atrium also. So you see that now both the atria have been colored yellow. When the impulse moves from the SA node to the AV node and the atria contract from top to bottom direction. But if you notice, after that, the action potential actually travels down along the interventricular septum, and it is not spreading into the muscles of the ventricles, and the ventricles are not contracting from top to bottom. Instead, the signal travels to the apex and then the signal spreads from bottom to top. So the ventricles actually contract in a direction opposite to the atrial contraction. The ventricles contract from bottom to top orientation. That means the apex of the heart contracts first and then the contraction starts spreading into the myocardium of the ventricles. Can you tell me why? Moving on to some homeostatic imbalances of the heart. What do you think happens if the SA node is damaged? Does the heart stop beating? No, because the next destination, the AV node, takes over. But is it as efficient as the SA node? No again. The SA node it sets the pace of the heartbeat. If the SA node is not working, the AV node will work, but the heart beats at a much slower rate. What happens if the AV node is damaged? Then the other parts of the heart, they are released from the control of the SA node. This results in a much slower heart rate because the ventricles will be contracting at their own rate. In addition to this, there is ischemia, which is also known as angina pectoris. This is lack of oxygen supply going to the heart muscle. This could be caused by atherosclerosis or arteriosclerosis, which means blockage of the coronary blood vessels. Fibrillation is a rapid, uncoordinated contraction of the heart muscle. You're going to learn more about this in the next semester when you do physiology. Tachycardia versus bradycardia. Tachycardia is very high heart rate, over 100 beats per minute, while bradycardia is slow heart rate, less than 60 beats per minute.